We're over 2,000 or 3,000 people now that have actually seen or gone to our page. We've had about 1,500 to 2,000 people that have actually watched videos, and have we're about 2,000 minutes of people watching videos right now. So I don't know what it is about you guys, but you guys are loving finding out what's going on in our community as far as people knowing who they're voting for. Sunday, I will actually release who has agreed to do the interviews and the individuals who did not do the interviews, and so that you'll know how all of this process went. But it'll be without a candidate. It'll just be me giving information prior to the forum. Forum for mayors is August the 8th at 6 o'clock. Make sure that you are there in your seat, ready to hear. Also, the council people will have a forum August the 11th from 6 to 8. And we're looking at doing a live broadcast after both forums. The broadcast will be live here from 8:30 till about 9:30, whenever I can get Doug to be quiet. Basically how that's going to go. Keep sharing, keep liking. I am changing where all of this is located. It'll now be under the Centrist of Alabama, and I'll be posting to Alexander City Forum, but we're going to start doing more stuff up under Centrist of Alabama. Today, though, I have the pleasure of dealing with and interviewing.
Dealing, huh?
Yes, dealing with
With.
Council District 2 candidate Jacob Meacham. He also is it vice president?
That's right.
At the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
so
sir.
You got that new job not too long ago. If I've been about a year.
It's been about a year. Last July.
Yeah.
July the 6th.
And so now you're jumping into trying to go the government route of helping us figure out what's going on around here.
Right.
So before we get into the questions, I always tell them we're going to just have a little chat. We're going to figure out what's going on about you, whatever you feel you need to tell our viewers. This is your interview. Normally you go and knock on somebody's door and you give them that first 30-second spiel. We're going to skip the spiel, and I'm going to go straight to that first question that's in their mind. Who are you, and what's your background?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on, and thanks for what you're doing and providing voters and residents of Alex City this much-needed opportunity to get to know the candidates. But when I go and knock on someone's door, and a lot of times that is the first question you get, who are you? Or I usually have my T-shirt on that says, Meacham District 2 on the front. So they pretty quickly realize that I'm there.
You're not there to rob them at that point in time.
No, absolutely not.
I got you.
But yeah, my background, I grew up here in Alexander City. I graduated from Benjamin Russell High School in 2004. I went to CACC for a year on the Gateway Scholarship. I was one of the first graduating classes from Benjamin Russell to be offered the Gateway Scholarship, which I think is a huge
awesome
educational tool,
yes.
Economic development tool, workforce development tool for our community. Went to the University of Alabama after that.
You don't get any grief from that around here?
With as divided as it is between Auburn and Alabama, you do get a little bit of that, but
well, I just had to throw that in there so that you won't alienate any of your, Auburn fans, just in case.
I try not to. I actually grew up spending a lot of time in Auburn.
Okay.
That's where where we grew up going to football games. My brother went to school there, so we kind of have a little bit of divided house.
Well, we're central oriented on this channel,
And I understand the need for that, but we have great schools here, and we're lucky to have Auburn and Alabama as two great options. But spent several years going to school at Alabama. I graduated in 2010. I have my bachelor's degrees in a double major in political science and public relations. I worked with the athletic department in the sports information office, basically doing PR and publicity for the athletic department. My senior year and throughout graduate school, and started work at the university. My first job was at the University of Alabama in the admissions office, doing student recruitment, digital media work through social media, managing that presence for the admissions office online.
Might have to get you to start working on my side. Anyway.
And that was a great opportunity. It allowed me to meet a lot of different people, go to different parts of the country to recruit students to the University of Alabama. But you know, there's a famous saying at UA, and it was from the coach Bear Bryant. When he came to coach at UA, it was like Mama called.
Yes.
And when I moved back to Alex City, that's basically what it was like for me. In my heart, I always wanted to be back here, but it had to be for the right opportunity for me and my family, because I do have a young family as well.
Tell us about that wonderful family and that cute little one you got.
Yeah, Jack is my 11-month-old son. He'll be 1 on August the 26th, so we have a birthday upcoming for him. I'm married.
You have election, and then you go right into the important business of planning a party.
That's right. Well, luckily my awesome wife is handling all the party planning details.
And her name is?
Lindsay.
Okay.
She's also from Alexander City, previously Lindsay Cole.
Lindsay, by the way, you take the greatest pictures. Do not let him, by any shape, form, or fashion, do the photo taking for the campaign. But anyway, go ahead.
You're right. She's been, I mean, she's unbelievable. Not only as my wife and partner in life, but being so supportive in this journey, getting into you know, running for a seat on the city council. But yeah, we live on Lafayette Street, right in District 2. Lindsay does digital marketing and builds websites and things like that for a company that she actually worked for in Tuscaloosa, and because of the nature of her work was able to keep her job and still work from home. She also works downtown at Cloud 9, which is a gift store and boutique, and so she's very busy as well. We have a lot going on with the young family. We're very interested for that reason in trying to build Alexander City, help Alexander City grow, make sure that Alexander City is the kind of place for our son and his generation
Are you trying to skip questions on
that
me?
It was when we grew up.
You're trying to skip questions on me.
I'm not skipping questions.
Because you knew the next question was going to be, Lindsay, when you sat down and you tried to convince her that you wanted to do this thing, why are you running?
Well, I feel like our city has a ton of potential.
Okay.
Everybody knows, you know, location-wise, that we're very central to some metropolitan areas like Birmingham and Montgomery and Auburn, and even Atlanta's only 2 hours away. So location-wise, I think we have a lot in our favor. Our education systems have always been very strong with the public school and what CACC provides that we've already touched on a little bit, but what they do from a workforce training aspect as well with their career tech programs. So between, you know, our education, what we have is a prime centralized location to lots of different areas as well. A downtown area that can, I think, be thriving and provide entertainment and arts and culture and be a great center for business. You know, we just have a ton of assets, I think, that we're not, to this point, fully leveraging. I think we need new leadership, and I think I'm a representative of a sort of changing of the guard, if you will, a new way of looking at things, a new way of doing things, fresh ideas, fresh perspectives. I think my job at the Chamber allows me to focus on a lot of very key initiatives that are important to the city, such as business recruitment, workforce and educational needs, having a city government that promotes business and promotes growth and removes barriers for growing, whether you're a newcomer to our business community or an existing business. So those are just a few reasons, but I've touched on it already. We want to make this a great place to raise a family, for the next generation of upcoming kids, my son's age, and those that haven't been born yet, a great place to inherit. And in the meantime, a great place for us to be able to call home.
So now I know a little bit about why you're running. Why should I vote for you at this point in time?
Well, I've touched on a little bit about why I think I'm a good candidate,
Mm-hmm.
a highly qualified candidate because of what I do every day at work. My focus is on making Alexander City a great place to live, work, raise a family, go to school. My focus all day, every day at work is on that. Every candidate in this race, unless they're retired, and I don't think anybody that's running in this District 2 City Council race is retired, every candidate has a job, and that job requires focus. Lots of focus, 8, 10, 12, 15 hours a day. I'm no different in that regard. It just so happens that my focus is on initiatives and tasks that are very central to growth and progress for the city. So that's the reason I think
Okay.
I'm a good candidate.
Now, you've kind of indicated this because of your family situation and how you grew up here and everything else, but every candidate has a vision
Sure.
that they're running on. What is your vision for the city itself, or what you would like to see done from a city council's situation?
Well, as far as importance, I think everyone knows right now we're not in the best shape financially. We're a little bit behind on some very pressing deadlines, whether it's this upcoming budget, audits that are lacking. So in terms of importance, I say getting our financial situation up to date and cleaned up, and to a point where we actually know where all the money is of critical importance, because everything else beyond that really isn't possible unless you know where you are financially. If we're to go out and recruit business to our area and put together incentive packages, we have to know, where we are financially. If we're to invest in infrastructure, we have to know where we are financially. If we're to, invest in parks and recreation and fun things to do and arts and entertainment, we have to know where we are financially. So it all starts with knowing what the financial picture is, being responsible with taxpayer dollars. And so I think that is the most pressing objective for our city. As in terms of vision, I think we can be a great, thriving small town. I've already touched on, we've got basically a corridor that connects Birmingham to Auburn, running right through our town, 30,000 cars per day. The opportunity for development along 280 is huge. The opportunity for more diversified industrial recruitment, the opportunity for growing small businesses, the opportunity for cleaning up our neighborhoods, making Alexander City some of these older neighborhoods that have historically been very nice places to live, if you ride around town, are in a state of deteriorating, and we have to do some things to address those issues.
Okay. Now, I always ask this to each candidate because sometimes candidates say a lot of what they're going to do, but they don't always know what the position is. What would you say that the role of a council person actually is?
Well, from what I know about the functions of the city council, it's a very important role. And as a group, now I would be one person in a group of 6 people charged with, coming up, approving a budget. Now it's the mayor's budget from what I understand, and various departments submit that, and the council approves it. The mayor administers that day to day through managing the departments. The council passes ordinances to promote all those things, or to help grow all those areas that I was just talking about. So through passing ordinances, making sure that the taxpayer dollars are responsibly spent, through approving a budget, I think those are the 2 key functions of a city council. Of course, hiring a finance director, I'm not talking about the current situation we have, but that is the those are one of the 5 positions, I believe, that the city council names.
Correct.
Finance director, police chief, fire chief, a couple of others. So
city clerk.
City clerk, exactly. So to me, that's where we can have a great impact. Creating some ordinances that address some of these issues that I've talked about, and even just coming up with ways that create for better enforcement of some of these ordinances that are already on the books.
Okay. How would some of your, just briefly, how would some of your background help you in becoming an effective council person?
My educational background, I think, is adequate, if not, ideal for this position in terms of being a political science major and knowing the ins and outs, I think, of how municipal government should work. But in terms of what I've done professionally in the, 6 or 7 years that I've been out of school, recruiting students to the University of Alabama, it's basically a sales job. Now, it might have been a little bit easier to sell students on coming to a university than it is to recruit businesses to Alexander City.
Look, and to Alabama.
Right. But the fact is, you're faced with selling something to an individual who is picking between pretty good options. And that's really the same thing I think we're doing when we try to attract new businesses to Alex City, or we're faced with making tough decisions. Weigh what the options are, what's best for the citizens, how do we sell our strengths, how do we overcome our weaknesses. So I think my background is ideal for exactly that.
Now, the city has its challenges, and it has its issues and it has its successes. Give me 1 or 2 things that you see that you would like to improve on, whether it be a success or an issue that people may not know about.
A success, I think, look outside of where we are right now, and if you don't know where we are right now, we're on Broad Street. It's okay that I say that. We're not in a basement like it looks like here behind us. This paving project that's going on out here, revitalizing a very critical part of downtown, making it look nice and new and attractive. This is where years ago they used to have the Jazz Fest even. And the condition that this parking lot's been in for the past, I don't know how many years, I wouldn't consider having any event out there.
Right.
But through the city working with the state and getting grant money, and using our taxpayer dollars to match some of that grant money, we're able to repave this entire parking lot and essentially give this part of downtown a facelift. So that's something that people might not understand or really see. I think just last week, Sun Festival that the Chamber puts on, it is a Chamber of Commerce thing, but the city invests heavily in making that possible. So that's something behind the scenes, I think, that people may not be aware that the city's doing, that it really enhances the quality of life around here when you have 60 events in 8 days, and those events cater to people of all different interest levels, whether you're young or old, or whatever kind of music you like or fun things you like to do. There was literally something for everyone. So I think just 2 kind of examples like that may not be things that on the surface people realize.
And you talked about one of the issues we're going to kind of dive into a little bit. You're part of economic development just in your normal job.
Right.
What do you see as your role as potential counselor? How does that play into what you're trying to do, or in the larger economic development plan for Alexander City?
Well, currently, the Chamber of Commerce kind of focuses on retail recruitment and development. So when we work with people to try to identify what the opportunities are for new restaurants, new places to shop, things like that in the retail sector. And the Lake Martin Economic Development Alliance, the EDA, focuses on industrial recruitment. So those are kind of the 2 entities that the city works in conjunction with on economic development and business recruitment. But attracting outsiders is always great in new business, but we also have an existing business community as well, and an existing industry community as well, that can really create a lot of jobs. Research indicates that 80% of jobs created come from existing businesses. So to neglect the ones who are already here and who have worked for a very long time to establish themselves, I think would be irresponsible. So the city should work with those that are here, to help them grow, overcome obstacles, and also work with the two entities that I just mentioned, the Chamber and the EDA, to attract new business to the area, new business that fills the gaps, what we don't currently have available here that our consumers need and want, and to fill the gaps of, or that complement the kind of workforce that we have here. For instance, at CACC we have industrial electronics, robotics, welding, machining. Now, those are four very highly skilled, high demand fields that we already are creating a workforce here that we can go out and sell that to newcomers.
Mm-hmm.
This is the workforce being provided. Let's go out and find those type jobs to bring to Alexander City.
Okay.
And the city specifically, I think, can go a long way in enticing those businesses here by offering incentive packages, but responsible incentive packages, not giving away so much that it's really hard to recoup that return. Now, understand that you have to be on a level playing field, and lots of other cities are doing the exact same thing, but you have to know what fits your community. You have to have a long-term strategic vision and idea of what you want your city to be, and then you go out and work towards that vision rather than just accepting anything just because it's available.
Okay. Now, you mentioned road and infrastructure. What are some things, one or two things you see as projects, pet projects you would like to see come along while you are a council person?
Well, in talking with the people of my district, I know, these are very simple things like having sidewalks through the neighborhoods repaired. Even sidewalks that are already there that have grass growing over them for so long that you can't even walk on them. Street lights being, in place so that you can walk outside and not be fearful of, a car coming out because they can't see you.
Simple stuff.
Those are very simple things that I think can be addressed pretty easily. Long term, more complex things, a half a mile from where we're sitting right now, we have, I don't know how many acres, probably over 50 acres in the middle of our city that connects 280 to downtown, the former Russell campus, that could be tremendous for redevelopment, and that has to be cleaned up. We have to have a plan in place about, is it going to be partly residential? Are we going to build some parks? Are we going to do retail development?
Just generally, what
are we going to do? Yeah. Exactly. So providing a vision for that and really working hard to try to get it cleaned up and implementing that vision through development.
So let's deal with the elephant in the room a little bit, which is the finances. What are some of your thoughts on, if you were sitting in the seat, how you would like to see the financial issues addressed?
Well, I think it starts by making sure that you have good people in place and that you allow those people to do their job. If there's a position of finance director, you want someone in that position who understands how to implement a budget, how to establish procedures and protocol that don't allow for deadlines being neglected. I think a lot of these things are very fundamental. Getting along, personality conflicts, whatever you want to call it, should not be the issue. These are things we're taught at a very young age, right? Mm-hmm. Be respectful of the people that you work with.
Golden rule,
the golden rule.
Is what they talk.
There you go.
Yeah.
So as bad as it might seem, I really don't think that it's that easy to or that hard to overcome.
Okay.
I think we'll be surprised at how quickly we're able to resolve some of these issues when we have a group of people in there who get along, number one, who sit down on day one, come up with a plan for getting it accomplished, and who stick to that plan.
Okay. What type of leadership and communication style should people expect from you as a council person?
Well, I think my leadership style is one of, I like to surround myself with people that are good at what they do. I like to surround myself with people that challenge me to be better. Communication-wise, I'm very open. I think I'm a good listener. I like to, get different perspectives and ideas and come up with the best solution for whatever the problem is. I don't think disagreement is always a bad thing, but disagreement that's working towards a better solution and working towards, compromise in that disagreement. Did you ask about management style, leadership style?
Leadership style.
I like I said, bring in good people, allow those people to do what they do, don't micromanage, trust, and as far as communication, like I said, openness, two ways, listening and giving it back.
Okay.
You can't think that you have all the answers. You have to listen to different perspectives, and you have to use those different perspectives to formulate the best plan forward.
Okay. And this is almost like a softball question for you, so you'll love it. What have you done to kind of help the city currently? And I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult for you, outside of the chamber.
Sure.
What have you done to kind of help promote or, be involved in the city and give back in that situation?
All right. Well, I've only been living back here for a little over a year now.
Okay.
So, because of how, I guess, busy my job is, most of my work for the community comes from actually what I do in terms of volunteering. We've through the Young Professionals group have done a lot of fundraisers for organizations in the community. We've done fundraisers for the Cancer Center at the hospital. We've done active participants in Meals on Wheels. We did a fundraiser for the Lake Martin Resource Association, which does tremendous work around Lake Martin. I volunteered with the Alexander City Tree Board to go around and help beautification in the city, planting trees all over town, and even some in some neighborhoods in District 2. I think my work with the Young Entrepreneurs Academy, now although that is a chamber function, is something that's very important to the city in terms of instilling a spirit of innovation in young people. We've helped 10 students went through the program last year and got to actually start their own business. And we paired them with mentors from around the community to help them fine-tune a business idea. Took them on field trips to lots of different places. Welcomed in guest speakers to expose them to people from all areas of business from around town. And they actually got to take their idea and pitch it to a panel of investors and receive money to start their business. And several students from the class have actually been very successful in that endeavor. But regardless of their success in starting a business, they're picking up skills that are going to be very, very tremendously valuable moving forward. Presentation, public communication, getting on a stage and selling yourself to a group of people that you've never seen before or met before. They're making connections with people around the community that can help them in a lot of different ways, whether it's through a summer job or volunteering their time to fulfill their obligations of volunteer work to the school system. So that's been one of the areas that I've been most proud of, the Young Entrepreneurs Academy and the Lake Martin Young Professionals, because I think it addresses a huge issue here, and that's building up young people, providing leadership opportunities for young people, and using that as a way to maybe attract some more young people to our area, which I think we need.
Well, as you know, with what you deal with in the chamber, lately especially, we seem to have jumped into a lot of negative press.
Right.
To the point where they've even done follow-up stories. So that's not a good sign. What are some things as a council person you think can be done to change the image and perception of Alex City so that we don't have so much negative press?
Create some good news. Get some things done.
There it is. We can go now. That's it.
Get some things done. Honestly, I think that will, and voters can send a message.
Right.
And that's going to change negative press overnight. On August 23rd, if the voters turn out and they vote for change, that's going to be on the headlines on August the 24th, because it's going to send a clear message that the people of Alexander City want to see change. They're going out and exercising their right to vote and helping bring about change. Mm-hmm. So I think it starts with the voters making a decision to create some positive press of their own through new leadership. But as a council, get in there, show that we can work together, which, as I've mentioned, is very fundamental and should not be the issue facing any city. Getting along should be, like I said, that should not be the problem. That should be what you go into it knowing that you're going to do. You respect the people that you work with. And I think the rest is going, like I said, people are going to be surprised, I think, at how much we're going to be able to get done once we have a group of people in there that have a unified vision and that are all working together toward that vision instead of pulling in different directions.
So you spent a little time in City Hall just kind of interacting with various departments. What is the diversity and in City Hall, and is there something that you would see that needs to be done when it comes to diversity in City Hall?
Yeah, I think diversity is important anywhere, and I think we need to have fair hiring practices to promote diversity. When I was at the University of Alabama, I was able to serve on lots of different search committees to fill vacancies, and it was always important for our office to have different people represented, whether it was gender, race, ethnicity, whatever it might be. I think having people part of the process in interviewing and in hiring and in making decisions, just because of that involvement, naturally produces more diversity. So I think as a city, we need to make sure that we have equal hiring practices, that we are doing everything we can to make sure that we are a diverse city. As far as elected officials, that's entirely up to the voters to decide. And I think that answer is, do you feel comfortable that this person that you're voting on can represent your interests?
That's a novel idea.
Right.
All right. Now, you work for the chamber, so y'all are budget based.
Right.
So do you have any experience with budgets in any of your previous positions? And do you feel comfortable dealing with having to look out for a several $1 million budget?
I do feel comfortable with that, and I do have experience in helping manage the chamber's budget. The Young Professionals Group, that's a function of the chamber, has its separate budget, and I manage that along with our board. As far as managing this multi-million-dollar budget, I've never managed a number that large, but the principles are the same. You don't spend more than what you make. You keep up with where it's going. You know what's in the accounts. You know what department has what department's generating what department's spending what. You keep track of it. You have procedures in place that don't allow for deadlines being neglected. And I would feel comfortable managing that large of a budget because we're doing it as a group, and we're going to have some what I think are going to be very highly qualified people working together on that. So it wouldn't be just me. It would obviously be a council of 6 people along with the mayor, and I think for that reason alone, it's maybe a little easier than taking something like that on yourself.
Last couple of minutes, I'm going to ask the final question and then give you an opportunity to make an appeal to your voters in your district. The last question deals with a unified city. Do you see right now that Alexander City is unified? And if so or if not, what are your thoughts of what you can do about it as a council person?
Well, if you look at the way that things have been going, at least on the city level, the council and the mayor and that sort of thing, it doesn't appear to be unified starting at the top. As far as citywide, I think there's a lot more we can do to include people of different demographics to be involved in the process. We are a city that has one school system, and so I think that does a lot from a very early age at introducing children to different perspectives. So I think that's a great start, really taking that and growing it and making sure that throughout their life, kids are around different ideas, different people, different perspectives. That's healthy. We can do a better job of it as a city, absolutely, as individuals, but as leaders at the city level, we absolutely can do a better job of it. And there's no question that we need to be more unified. And I think as soon as we get, as I've mentioned before, a group in there who has a vision to unify toward, it'll be a lot easier.
Okay. Well, as usual, last 30 seconds. The camera is your friend now, so just whatever that final appeal is just before you get ready to leave to ask that voter for your vote.
Well, you know, I'm very interested, and I have a passion for trying to make Alexander City a great place for us to live, for our children to grow up, good jobs, clean, safe neighborhoods. I think these things are very attainable if we all work together in trying to make them happen. I'm not making any promises. I think that would be irresponsible. The only thing I can promise to do is work hard, be open, be honest, and be transparent, and really try to connect with the people in District 2 to make sure that your interests are my interests, and carry that forward and represent you on the City Council.
Well, you've heard it direct from City Council District 2 candidate Jacob Meacham. Review this video as often as you can if you have any questions about where he might potentially stand. Jacob, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, forums next week, August the 8th and the 11th. After each one of them, we're going to try and do live broadcasts here at Wise Point. Jeff Kirk has been real nice letting us hang out in his office and do these interviews, and we're going to try something different by going live from this, and might even try and take a few calls or things of that nature. I hadn't quite figured that out yet, but we're going to try some stuff, or chat Facebook or YouTube. So please continue liking and sharing. And like we said, we're transitioning a little from Alex City Promise to Centrist, Alabama. More to come. We may have one other interview, but by Sunday we will definitely do a wrap up and an analysis of where all of our candidates potentially are before the forum on Monday. Once again, thank you, Jacob Meacham.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you in your bid to become City Council District 2 representative.
Thank you.